Well, welcome, players. We're here for another day of painting happy little miniatures. I'm your host, Rick.
And I'm your host, Dave.
Today is a little different than what we normally do. We're going to be looking at Necromunda Underhive.
Yep.
We have all the miniatures still on their sprues, so we're going to be putting them together. And Dave's going to give us some tutelage on
Necromunda itself.
It's the
game, the background, the approach, all that sort of fun stuff.
So I'm going to let Dave take over, and I'm going to share this in a couple of groups.
You share that in some groups?
I
Cool.
am.
Okay. Well, I'm going to grab the box, put that out of the way. Oh, it's still heavy. It's got loads of stuff in there.
It's got the board pieces.
Oh, all the board pieces and the books and stuff. Cool. Okay. So Necromunda, the quick rundown. Necromunda is a skirmish game from Games Workshop. It's basically games are played typically between two gangs. Gangs vary in size from 5 to 10 models usually, something like that. It's set on the world of Necromunda, which is what's known as a hive world, where cities are enormous, absolutely massive. They're like a mile high themselves.
All right.
Just huge monolithic stacks of buildings that have just grown up over thousands of years.
What was that show, Ready Player One? Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Oh, my God. Jeez.
Deliberately.
Where they have the stacks.
Okay.
Part of the city is the stacks where they're literally like trailers on these like lifts over top of each other, just super high.
Yeah.
Kind of similar, but way better tech.
Well, varying levels of tech, I guess. But yeah, it's basically over millennia, these cities have grown from small sort of mining outposts or manufactorums, and they've just grown and grown and grown. In the hives of Necromunda, there's a very strong class system. So the noble houses live at the top of the spire, and lesser noble houses live a little bit lower.
Okay.
And then below that are you've got the manufacturing houses, and that's where the houses the different gangs in Necromunda come from. So you've got 6 main houses. There's Goliath, House Goliath, House Escher, Orlok, Vansar, Dalark, and Cawdor.
Cawdor?
Cawdor.
Ooh, I like that name.
And those are different manufacturing houses. They manufacture all sorts of things. Primarily, they manufacture weapons for the Imperial sort of war machine.
Okay.
We've got some minis here. These are just a few that I've from House Escher that I've painted up.
So we got Chris, Nick, Carl, Jeremy, and Wayne all in there. What's up?
Hey, everybody.
And Jeremy says, so it's kind of like Coruscant.
Coruscant. It's not. Not really. I think Coruscant. It feels like the whole planet is a city.
Okay.
But imagine this is just like a big city, and then for like hundreds of miles, it's just irradiated wasteland.
Oh, wow.
And then there's another city, and then there's hundreds of miles and another, like, overcross irradiated wasteland.
Wow. Kind
of thing. So yeah, it's pretty crazy sort of setup. The gangs in Necromunda come from those houses. Usually they're workers off the line, factory lines, or they might be relatives of the shift bosses, that sort of thing, who get sort of pulled away to go and run different missions. To gather more information, get more tech, or to sabotage rival houses, manufacturing efforts. But a lot of the gameplay takes place in the Underhive, so it's the lowest level, where the dregs end up.
Right, where I would live.
Yeah. Pretty much. Well, coming up soon. There's a model that's about to be released called the Sump Croc.
Okay.
And I think you'd be a perfect Sump Croc.
Right.
Yeah.
Is he bald and bearded and Angry?
No, he's a crocodile that lives in the sump.
I'm not a crocodile.
It's kind of like a crocodile.
Okay, now
Dog
this
and a
is sounding
crocodile.
better again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like big, muscly.
Oh, I like this.
Huge jaws and all sorts of stuff. But originally Necromunda, the first edition of Necromunda was released in 1995 by Games Workshop. A box set had terrain that was cardboard and plastic.
Okay.
Had bulkheads made out of plastic, and the different levels were cardboard, and you sort of punched them out, stuck them together to build a 3D sort of game. There were two plastic gangs that were in the box set, and all the gangs that came after that were metal.
Okay.
But basically, and then over time they had a couple of expansions. They added more gangs, loads of great stuff.
Okay.
Basically,
Very cool.
the very cool thing about it is that it gives you another insight into the world of Warhammer 40,000. It's set in the same universe, but obviously these aren't massive armies going out to conquer star systems.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 10 girls from House Escher who are going in to assassinate
someone from one of the
from the House Goliath.
From Goliath, okay.
Something like that. So it's much smaller. It's much more focused.
Okay. Is House Escher a predominantly female group?
Yep. Basically, all of their gangers are female.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much all of the House Goliath gangers are male. They're the big sort of steroid, vat-grown slabs of muscle.
All right.
Essentially. Each of the gangs has their own focus, their own approach. The House Escher are focused on chemical weapons, chemical weapons and toxins and chemical warfare, that sort of thing. House Goliath are focused on brutal types of weaponry.
Right. I see like axes and big guns.
Enormous chain axes and these huge rivet guns that they've got as well.
Okay.
Which we'll probably get to. Where are they on the sprue?
I have them on this one. I have some rivets. Are these guys?
Oh, no, they're grenades.
Oh, are they? Well.
But the rivet gun... There we go. So big rivet guns like this one here. Seems like I'm missing a light. It's very dark back here. But
You're
there we
good.
go.
All
Maybe
lights
that
are
one.
on you.
There we go. But yeah, so rivet guns, that sort of thing. And over the weekend, GW just released the latest gang, Van Saar, who are very high tech. They're very focused on their technology, the technological weapons. Mm-hmm. And the one in between the release of Necromunda Unhive and the Van Saar are the Orlocks, who are these guys. So let's get that. Nope. Can't quite get it. But these are some that I'm...
Well, you put them on the spinner.
Yep, we'll stick them on the spinner. Actually, here we go. I'll put this guy here.
Okay. Oops.
There we go. So these are some that I'm painting up for my own personal gang at home. A little bit more work to do on him. But the Orlocks are focused on... basically, they produce fairly standard sort of weaponry.
Right. We have some cyborg issues going on here.
It's basically like a little hydraulics and servos to help him lift that huge gun.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're more focused on their skills and their individual skills at keeping their weapons running, and they're sort of very reliable.
Okay.
They're not super flashy. They're not the best shooters. They're not the best in combat, but they're reliable.
Okay.
So they're not the exciting guys.
So, now, as far as like put them together, you mentioned that like if I want to do Splitter, Korg, or Kruger, as far as if you look on the right here on, you can see that Splitter, Korg, and Kruger are the same base model.
Yep, the same legs. Basically, one of the things that's really cool about what Games Workshop's doing with these sprues is, let me grab that.
Sure.
Sprue. So the two sprues that we've got here, these are the Goliath sprues. There are 5 models in each sprue. Mm-hmm. The sprues are identical.
Okay.
But rather than ending up with 2 identical sets of models.
Right.
They've arranged things in such a way that you can put them together in a variety of different ways, but you can, even just using the same base model, following the instructions here, you get a completely different silhouette of the model. So at the end, it looks like you've got 10 different models, but they haven't had to create a separate sprue, which is obviously cheaper for Games Workshop, keeps the cost down for the end user. But yeah, so it's really exciting because there's a whole lot more parts on the sprue as well to sort of mess around with.
So after you're all said and done, you're going to have enough bits left over, right? You're going to have bits left over.
Oh, you're going to have a bunch of bits left over,
which you could use on other minis if you want to kit bash something later.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I'll do is I'll just pop, where are they? These two.
Okay.
So if we can stick these two on, this will give you sort of a bit of a clearer idea for the House Escher. So these two models have the same basic body, so you can see the legs are in the same pose there. But the different equipment you put on them gives them a very different profile, or very different silhouette. So
yeah, two different heads, two different weapon sets.
Yeah. You can very easily tell that they're not the same model, but as they come around, you can see the torsos and around the hips, and everyth's the same.
The same, yeah. So when you are putting these ones together, do you put the model together but don't base it until you pre-paint the base and then base them?
These ones I've been just gluing them straight to the base.
Oh, okay.
It's another great thing that the GW have done with these, and these are they're not their first textured bases. They've done some more previously, but this is the first time that they've appeared in a boxed game.
Okay.
Which is really cool. So each of these bases kind of matches the texture that's represented on the tiles in the game.
Right.
But also they're all polystyrene, high-impact polystyrene plastic, so you can just glue models straight to them.
Okay, cool. I noticed that like you were just showing these off, and one of them is much larger than the other. Are there going to be, based on what I've seen here, it doesn't look like there's like a boss miniature.
No, actually, what we've got here is the Goliaths are on these bases, the 32mm bases.
Oh, okay.
And the Escher are on the 25mm bases.
Oh, I see.
There are a couple of extra. So yeah, in this box, this bag, you get 10 32mm bases, which is all of the Goliaths, and you've got 15 25mm bases. So the 10 for the Escher and 5 for some of the like little scenery pieces or objective markers and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So
cool.
But yeah, basically I just glued all of these down and just painted them up once I'd finished painting the models.
Yeah, they look great. So what we're doing, just if you've just tuned in, we're working on some Necromunda models. We're not going to be painting them today. We're just going to be putting them together, showing you guys the whole, the other processes to our miniature hobby here of, picking and choosing off the sprue what we want to put together to build the different gang members.
Yep.
And also talk about, prepping your model for painting.
Yeah, exactly. So, got that.
Dave, I may have missed this. Who makes Necromunda? What game developer?
Sorry, Games Workshop. So, Games Workshop do Necromunda.
I'm going to work on number 13 body, which would give me either Splitter, Korg, or Kruger.
Yep. And I am going to completely wing it.
Really?
Yeah.
That scares me.
No, it's absolutely fine. Let's see if I accidentally end up with the same model as you.
Yeah?
How's that sound?
It sounds good. I don't think you're going to do it.
Pretty good.
I don't think you got it in you.
Oh. Okay, we're going to pick a different body there. So, just go with something simple there.
So one of the things about what I find interesting too is when you get miniatures that are on sprues and you have to take them off of there, the whole, you got to go through and you got to look for the mold lines on the miniature to give it a little bit of a file down to get rid of that.
Yep. Basically, and one of the side effects of any of the molding processes for creating a miniature, be it metal or resin or plastic,
Yeah.
is going to leave you with a mold line. Sometimes
Okay.
the mold line for plastic miniatures, if they're running the molds fairly slowly, so they've got time for the two halves of the mold to come together,
Yeah.
inject, and then be pulled apart, you don't have a lot of mold lines.
Okay.
But if the molds are running quickly, where the two halves of the molds going back and forth,
Right.
the chances of the plastic being injected when there's a slight gap
Gapping.
will give you a little bit more of a mold.
I see.
But that's usually the case. If you've got got a strong mold line or a lot of flash around the edge, around the model, it's because the process is being done quickly.
Okay. That explains that.
Yeah. One of the great things, though, with these models is that the I can't find. I don't know. I don't need the legs. Is that a lot of the areas where you'd find mold lines, they're along the edges of armor plates.
Right.
So,
So it kind of blends in.
yep.
Oh, all right.
The toughest part for the Goliath is on those sort of large, meaty arms.
Okay, I haven't
You'll
got to
have
those yet.
Those smooth sort of areas that you're going to want
Okay.
to have sort of cleaned down. So this area here, along the back there, but they're really basically improving every single kit that they do.
Right.
That sort of reducing the number of mold lines, which is great.
James asks, what gangs?
What gangs?
Yeah, I think
it-
in this.
Oh, for this show, we're going to be assembling some Goliath models. So, but basically, the box game, Necromunda and Hive, has Goliaths and Escher. So, those, and then the two that have been released since then are Orlox and Van Saar. So,
Is this the core set?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll
Yep.
show you the guys the box real quick. We are using the miniatures that come out of the Necromunda Underhive box. This is a game, I want to say, it comes with a lot of stuff. It comes with a 104-page rule book, 9 double-sided card tiles, 7 plastic hatches, 9 plastic barricades, 5 plastic loot crates, deck of 70 game cards, range ruler, 16 Necromunda dice, 20 plastic Citadel miniatures, 2 gang leader champions and 8 gangers for House Goliath, 2 gang leader champions, and 8 gangers for House Escher.
yeah.
It's pretty cool. For 2 or more players, and it plays about 60 minutes long. I'm guessing it could play longer if the strategy between the two opponents is, they want to just,
Yeah, it could.
depends on the play
Yep.
style.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I'm going to point out on the close cam here is something else that we have done with this set is right here, we can see the heads.
They're so tiny.
They are tiny. And the funny thing is that they're kind of just the faces.
Yeah.
The reason is that the Goliaths have a lot of mohawks as part of their look. A big sort of
Okay.
punk mohawk look. So this one's like a chain mohawk. So you can rev that up and start headbutting people.
Perfect.
Or just sort of a regular mohawk here. And now with the mohawk, you want the mold line to run along there, because that's the best way you're going to be able to get it out of the mold when those two parts of the mold come together.
Right.
But if you do that and have the face attached to it, you're going to get a mold line that runs down the middle of the face.
Right.
Instead, separate the two parts, have the face on one side of the mold.
Right.
You avoid those ugly
lines.
mold lines down the front.
Nice.
So that's a very clever thing that they've done there. You go for the yelling face. Did you go for which face did you go for?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
One
Fair
in
enough.
Chiros asks, are you guys going to work on this on Thursday?
Thursday we're going to do some painting of it. So
Yeah.
I
actually,
will not be here Thursday, just so y'all know. Sadly, I know how it upsets everybody.
Boo!
I will be at the CMON Expo.
CMON Expo.
In Atlanta.
Lucky.
And then also Mike asks, how do you feel about mixing Orlok into your Imperial Guard army for 40K? Scale is different from my understanding.
I haven't put them alongside. Are you talking about perhaps the Cadian models? Was it Mike?
Yes.
You're talking about Cadian models there? I actually haven't put them alongside any of my Cadians, but I know certainly with the first edition of the game in 1995, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put quite a lot of Orlocks into my Imperial Guard army. For sure. Goliaths look great in with the Catachan army as well, Catachan Imperial Guard. So, yeah, I'm all for that. Definitely.
And Craig asks, are you going to make any homemade terrain or just use the stuff that the game came with?
I think we'll probably do some painting of the stuff that came in the basic set, in the core set. And after that, probably down the track a little bit, we'll take a look at some of the Sector Mechanicus terrain.
Okay.
Which is the three-dimensional
The
terrain.
big stuff.
Which looks really cool. So I think we'll probably, take a look at that. What are we going to go for?
So based on, we've talked about prepping models for painting and priming and everything before. Would one be inclined to maybe wash these? Would this have any of that residue on it still that you think?
No, generally not. You can wash them if you want. I know that there are a bunch of people who do wash their plastic minis, but there's really no need. There's just really could be a personal preference.
All right, that makes sense.
But where is it? There we go.
I'm trying to find all the little bits on here that I want. And it's like the
I kind of
numbers.
finding that all the bits that I want are all in the right hand. So you could do some converting.
Okay.
Actually, that's one thing I'll point out. There's a couple of conversions that I've done with my Orlocks. Yeah. We'll swing those through and stick them on the spinner instead. Okay. Switch those two out for.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is. Ha!
Cool. Okay, so on the spinner there are two conversions that I've done. The guy in the big trench coat is I'm using as my leader for my Orlock gang. Now the body, so the torso and the legs, the coat, all comes from a Chaos miniature. So a Chaos cultist miniature from an earlier box set. I think it's from Dark Vengeance.
Okay.
Something like that. Dark Vengeance. And basically I just cut the arms off the old model, cut the head out, and replaced it with an Orlock head and two Orlock gun arms. A little bit of putty work, and created a completely new leader.
It looks
Stands out pretty well.
killer.
And the other one, I wanted to have a girl in my gang, so I converted her from so it's an Orlock body, Orlock arms, did a little bit of putty work, and gave her an Escher head. So, but whereas most of the Escher have fairly sort of bright coloured hair,
Right.
that kind of very sort of hair metal kind of look.
Right.
I'll just give her
A darker.
darker, very subdued kind of
Yeah.
hair color. And yeah, so
Brian Ledbetter says we should always wash our models because they are still covered in mold release.
well, as I said, each to their own.
Sure.
So if you like doing something, I wouldn't want to tell you to not do it.
Right.
But now I'm going to reach in my pocket and grab my glasses out. I did remember to bring them today. Just so I can get down and see these mold lines. But typically, you'll only find them along the, or ones that you have to worry about, along the organic edges.
Okay.
Now, when you're cleaning mold lines, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. I like to use a hobby knife with a really sharp scalpel blade. And just run it along the edge there. Some people like to scrape using the front of the blade. Some people scrape with the back of the blade. Games Workshop actually has a mold line remover tool.
Oh, wow.
Which is essentially a tool that's the back of the blade. Oh. But it's not a sort of a removable thing.
Not as quite as sharp?
Oh, it's certainly not as sharp, but it works. So you can see there that it's scraping across like that. We'll get rid of the mold line.
Right.
And some people that are not a million miles away from me at the moment don't worry about mold lines.
That's right. I usually don't. But as far as like on these ones, because they are on the sprue, when you release them, it's sometimes a little more than just a mold line you're going to capture, that flash.
All right, the
connection flash.
Oh, the connection point? Yeah. There's not a lot you can do about that with the plastic minis on the sprue.
Yeah.
Just all part of it.
Yeah.
Part of the hobby. So. But I think I told you. Yeah, when I was doing that big Legio Custodes commission for Dave at Titan.
Yeah.
That there were 2,700 connection points that had to clip.
That is crazy sauce.
Yeah. And for folks who are used to painting things like WizKids models or Reaper models or typically sort of miniatures from board games, this might seem like a lot of work. And compared to those, it is quite a bit of work.
Compared to those, you're right.
You're right. You would not be wrong.
That's funny.
But one of the things that all this variety allows you to do, looking at this piece, what do we got? 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces for this one model.
Okay.
It means that you can have a lot of variety in your gang. You can build your models a huge variety of different ways.
So those of you that are in the chat watching, again, we appreciate y'all being here. If you would like to share this with anybody, like put it on your Facebook page or in a group that you're a part of that is all about Necromunda or 40K, please do that. We'd really appreciate it. And also, I'd like to know, if you do play Necromunda, what is your preferred gang? Because that's pretty. Yours is what?
Yeah, I was gonna say, which one's yours? Oh, okay.
Warlocks for sure. I saw the funny thing about them, particularly from the sort of back in '95, all the gangs were started exactly the same.
Okay.
So in the gangs you have a leader, or you used to have a leader, a heavy, gangers, and Jews.
Okay.
So Jews were the
juveniles.
Juveniles who were trying to become gangers.
Okay.
Gangers were sort of your mainstay. Heavies were your guys that carry the heavy weapons, and your leader, obviously.
Like Madonna.
Yep. She was a special character.
I loved her.
Yeah. In the latest edition, there are leaders, champions, gangers, and Jews.
Okay.
It's kind of the standard thing. So heavies, instead of, they don't just carry heavy weapons, they can be any sort of specialist. So most of the time they have access to special weapons or what have you. The thing, originally, all of the stats were the same, and their access to weaponry was the same. And it was just as you went through and built them up during a campaign was when they got to go down different sort of skill paths. You got to choose from different skill trees to sort of grow the gang. You ended up with variety. But this time around, the gangers start off different. They have different access to different sets of weaponry, which is cool. And in sort of particularly new GW fashion, the rules that they start off with are echoed in the plastics that you get to make things out of. So, for example, the Orlocks have auto guns and shotguns, combat shotguns as their weaponry on their sprues. The Escher have auto guns and las guns.
Right.
And chemical throwers, like flamethrowers that
So my
freezing chemicals.
question for you is,
Yep.
I've got all my pieces. I went through and I think I've hit all the spots off of them, all the flash that
Yep.
needs to come off. Do you base your torso first and then start adding to it?
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
Typically, I build from the legs up.
Also, 1 Inch Hero says I still have my original metal minis, Delicate?
Delac.
Delac, sorry.
Yep.
Delac gangs, and then James says Escher.
Escher all the way.
Escher all the way.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, there are a lot of great additional gangs that sort of grew out of Necromunda, and Games Workshop is taking a little bit of a different approach this time around as well, with those sort of additional ideas, expanding things a little bit differently.
Okay.
I brought along a whole bunch of paper.
You did.
I did.
I saw it when you came in. It was like
Yeah.
stacks of magazines.
Stacks of magazines, yep. So the original game, so the original box game for Necromunda in 95 had the 6 houses in there. Because those gangs were started the same.
Right.
It didn't really sort of matter. This time around, Games Workshop has not put all of the original 6 gangs in a book together. When they released, they did provide like a legacy set of rules that you could use until your gang was, or the rules for your gang were re-released. But they've been adding gang war books for as each gang has been added.
Okay.
So I'll pull one of those up in a moment. There we go. I've got to stuck something else on top of it. So here we go. That's that 104-page rule book that you mentioned
Right,
from
in
the
book, in the box itself.
from the box set, which is great. One of my favorite things as well, sort of coming from a background in GW lore, is this here,
The logo.
the logo. So it looks like a skull, right?
Yeah.
You've got the eye sockets and the
Yeah.
the nose. And
But I
the
see
teeth.
something else too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the Imperial Eagle there as well. So the wings are truncated, because normally they come up and go out this way. But yeah, so it's a skull and an eagle, which is apparently in the design studio lovingly referred to as a skeagle.
A skeagle.
Skeagle. With a K. S-K.
SK.
S-K Eagle.
I
So
was going to refer to it as the most metal thing ever.
it is pretty amazing, isn't it? And I love that they did it on like a, it looks like it's a manhole cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just awesome. The skill. So, in the stuff in that rule book that I just showed you
Right.
covers playing the game in 2 dimensions essentially on the boards that you get in the box
In the box.
set. So you've got basic rules. You also have advanced rules. And you've got a
Okay.
whole bunch of scenarios using those tiles, the cardboard tiles that they've got in there, which look great in themselves. So I might grab some of those out. Oh, they're still in the shrink wrap. There we go. So we'll just have a. Oh,
Carl
Have a look
says The Skull and the Eagle is my favorite John Denver song.
oh. I did not know that there was.
So this is actually coming around pretty quick and it's looking pretty cool.
Yep.
I've got the head, I've got the torso and legs base, and I also have a armor plate panel that goes on his leg there,
Yep.
all already applied.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's coming along just fine.
Yep. Now I'm going to show some of these. So these are the
Nice.
tiles that you get to play around on. The black areas are walls, so you can't see through them or shoot through them. But yeah, lots of cool detailing in there.
It's like super sewer combat.
Yeah. You got this one, which is some wonderful glowing toxic goo. I think if you fall in there, you're in trouble.
I would say so. Yeah.
I would hope so. So that's pretty sweet. And different things like we got DL62 Secundus there, and there's another great one that looks like you've got to walk across a shaft, like an elevator shaft that just drops away to nothing.
Is there rules for falling?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You don't want to fall.
Yeah, I would say. Let's not do that.
Duh. Mainly because you're falling onto like Tetanus City.
Oh yeah.
It's all rusty. But yeah, so the next the book that they released alongside the box game was Gang War, which is this one.
Okay.
Which has the rules for playing in 3 dimensions, so using the Sector Mechanicus terrain and going up levels and sniping down at people and hiding behind columns and things like that.
Right.
They also have the rules for campaigns, which is really where Necromunda sings as a game.
And what does that mean? When you say Necromunda sings?
Well, it's the game itself isn't just about moving the models and rolling the dice.
Okay.
That's part of it.
All right.
But in between, your gang has territory that it gets to go and work.
Oh, okay.
It could just be a standard sort of thing where you get to go and extort some money from the rat burger dealer.
Ooh, tell me more.
So, or you get to you found a cool vein of adamantium that only your gang knows about, and they get to mine it and turn it into credits, imperial credits that they can then get to go and spend at the trading post to either recruit more gangers or buy more equipment. But that all happens in between each game.
Okay, so it's the downtime stuff that, like, while you're not actively engaged in a gang fight, these are the events that are going on to building your resources up for purchasing new stuff.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Makes sense.
Also in this book are the rules for for House Goliath gangs and House Escher gangs.
Okay.
Shows their composition, talks about what their skill trees are, that sort of thing. So, for example, a leader of House Escher gang, their primary skill trees are agility, combat, and leadership. Whereas for House Goliath, it's brawn, ferocity, and leadership.
Nice.
And Gang War 2 is stuff for House Orlok, as well as some new scenarios and hired guns, bounty hunters, that sort of thing.
Okay.
That you can add to your Underhive perils, sort of thing. So, learning about what happens in collapsed sections and how badly you can fall.
Which you've already...
Things like falling into the furnace.
Yeah, that sounds like a no bueno situation.
That doesn't sound good at all.
No.
Zoom in on the furnace there.
There, I've got my first one done. Put together.
Oh, no. Here we go. I mean, just the picture looks terrible. Like, you don't even touch the furnace there.
Yeah, it looks hot.
Yeah.
It looks like Kilauea.
Oh, it does, right at the moment.
Great, Aaron.
But,
he's dead.
Okay, ferocity, leadership, and savant.
Savant.
Nice. Savant skills are what you got for House Orlok.
Just want to say, hey, James, thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful day at work today.
Yep, have a good one, James.
So I put together Kruger, but I did, instead of giving him the flat-based leg plate, I gave him one with a spike.
Okay.
Instead.
You switched it up a little bit.
Yeah. Also because I didn't realize it was a
switch. Excellent. But yeah, and just using the parts without doing any additional cutting or green stuff work or anything like that, you can get some really nice variety in your gang. But
I think I'm going to work on Nox the Ripper.
Nox the Ripper? Yeah. Oh, dear. He doesn't sound very pleasant.
No, he does not. He doesn't look very pleasant, but he's got like a big axe similar to the one that this character has on the spinner, but he also has like a half hammer compared to what like the Hulk used in Ragnarok. The engine block.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
Excellent. That is cool. So, yeah. What we got?
And he's also going to get some of those grenades you mentioned.
Excellent. This big stick grenades there.
Yeah. So one of the things I find very nice is this mat that I'm using here. As I clip them out, I can place the model pieces over. They're like actual size.
Yeah.
So I can place them over there, and as I clip them all out, I know, okay, I got everything I need to make this model.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
And convenient.
Yes. Just another cool thing that they've done. And of course, almost all of the Games Workshop stuff is digitally sculpted now.
Okay.
I say almost all. I'm not sure. It's possible that it is all. It's a lot easier for them to make really cool instruction sheets.
Yeah.
So
there we go. Got my grenades. What's funny is I have to take the axe off of the other sprue of similar design.
Okay.
Because it only came with the one, which was
did you need that other one?
and 17. Did you use it?
Oh, I used it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, you did use it.
You need a.
That's okay.
You need to give him a pistol.
I'm gonna give him the double-barreled. Shoot, I don't know what the heck this thing is, but it's sick looking. Looks like something Hellboy would carry.
Jeremy, sorry, Johnny. Jeremy has a question. What is that glue dispenser? Like, what's the brand?
Oh, the one that I'm using?
It looks like it's working well to not get gunked up.
Yeah, hang on a second. I will show you in just a second. It is, basically, it's from a company called Testers. It's Testers Model Master brand. One of the things that I love about it, there we go, there's my dude. Let's just, get him on the front. I'll put him down so Leona can go and focus on him. And we can put the glue next to it. Okay, so you can see there, Model Masters liquid cement for plastic models. It has, unlike some of the other tester things where the tube is plastic, this one has a metal tube there. And there is a risk of the glue sort of gunking up that nice thin tube. But this allows you to put the glue really wherever you need it to go. But Tessa supplies you with two of these things, two of these pieces of metal wire like that. And if you find that your glue has become a little bit gunked up, you just thread the needle there. There we go. Push that in and use that to clean out the tube.
Nice.
And because I occasionally get it, sort of lose that piece of wire on my desk, I usually blue tack it to the side of the bottle there.
Oh, okay.
But I did clean off some of the blue tack earlier. Silly me. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of that type of plastic glue.
What was the name?
Testors. So Testors. Testors. They've been making model making sort of equipment for a long time.
Dave, what's the thickness of that wire? Would like a paper clip work, or would that be too thick?
Paper clip would be too thick compared to that wire.
I'm just trying to give people a general idea of how thick that whole opening is.
Yeah. No, that's a paper clip is about 1 millimeter thick. For those of us who use the wonderful metric system.
Blasphemy.
No, Why would we ever?
Okay, it's 1/25th of an inch.
Oh, wow.
There
Okay,
we go.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is probably 1/50th of an inch,
Oh, wow.
maybe 1/56th. I don't know
Yikes.
because fractions of inches are dumb.
It is. They are. I agree. Millimeters all
Wow.
the way.
I'm telling you,
Yeah, what's your millimeter rating on that? Tiny.
tiny. But yeah, so this is tiny. So it's probably like 0.5 millimeter for that wire. But good. I love using that glue. Okay. So my guy with a plasma pistol. So he's going to have to be a champion or a leader.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this is the gun I'm putting on this guy. This, like,
Oh, cool.
revolver with a shotgun handle looking thing.
Which, you're using that body. Okay, I'm going to use a body with a separate leg.
How many furlongs is that?
How many furlongs? None. A furlong's an imperial measurement, not a metric measurement.
Oh.
You know, you can tell all the metric measurements of length because they have the word meter in them.
Meter. Yes, weird. How dare they?
Millimeter,
How dare they?
centimeter,
I hate it.
meter,
Disgusting.
kilometer,
You're ruining this.
Decimeter?
nanometer,
Oh, I like nanometer.
nanometer.
Yeah.
Because it has nano in it, right?
Reminds me of my Nana.
She's the best. I want to go for this big wrench.
Yeah, that's what I was saying was like the hammer. The half hammer
okay.
of the engine block.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
But it
this.
is a big
I
wrench.
thought you were talking about this hammer.
No.
This one's
No, you're right. It is a big wrench. Now that I look at it and not on the
not on the sprue.
well,
Oh,
on,
not on the
on the
instructions.
sprue, but not out of the illustration.
Right. Okay.
Sick.
Oh, there we go. Had to find his leg.
I gotta find this other arm. It's hiding on me.
Arms hiding at the best.
There it is. Oh, it's not an arm. What is that?
No, what is it?
It looks like a I guess a pouch
Okay.
piece. It just based on this, I couldn't tell where it would go on the model because it doesn't. It only shows a straightforward look. So
Right.
this piece I'm gonna clip here is not seen in the image.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay. And I'm gonna have you. What have you picked for the face?
I picked 49, which is kind of like a open mouth.
Sure. Actually, here's a fun one. We'll go to the close cam for this one. Okay. This face here. What does it look like he's doing?
Looks like he's smoking a cigar.
Yep. What do you think number 47 is?
The cigar.
That's the cigar.
Oh.
Take
That's
that.
nuts.
Be careful when you're clipping that out. Don't let that fly across the room.
Wow.
It is kind of nuts.
That's clever.
This is very reminiscent of any of the models from Malifaux.
Yeah,
So
everything's so
weird.
tiny.
They have so many tiny bits. Like a separate ear on the zombie chihuahua.
Yeah. And the zombie
like that.
chihuahua is as big as this thing in my on my finger, and it comes in 4 pieces.
Oh my goodness.
I am going to go for this piece, this face here, which is the respirator. Respirator head. How cool does that look? Yeah.
I mean, it's all right.
That's okay. If you're going to have a crazy head, go for the respirator.
Carl says this stream is wonderful, but it's not helping my loathing of assembling models.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But that's why you make them different.
Yeah.
To what's in there. You switch things up.
I'm actually liking that there's so much diversity in how you can make the miniatures look, so that you can almost can very much customize them to your own style before you ever even put paint to them.
Yep. Yeah. For
Also,
sure.
One Inch Hero says that Goliath skull mask is dope.
It is. It is super cool.
The modeling, the detailing on it is
Oh yeah,
really cool.
spectacular. I'm going to show you one more here. This one here. So I don't know quite if we can tell, but this guy has a like a piece of jaw armor. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
runs from underneath his chin at the sides of his jaw.
You can get close to the camera if you want.
I can. There we go.
I'll focus.
Oh, focus for me, Johnny. Focus. This guy. Yeah, there we go. Check that out. So, whenever I look at this guy, and maybe with like this kind of mohawk on, I really get the feeling that it'd be like Mr. Freeze from Running Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out.
Yeah. You know, he's got that crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that was just on El Rey recently.
It was.
Yeah, I watch that channel a lot.
I don't know how you find the time with all that Netflix that you're watching. Which reminds me, there's a new show on Netflix that I was wondering if you'd seen yet, but I can't remember what it is.
I hope it's not.
I'll have to save it for next week. I have a feeling you haven't because you haven't mentioned it. So
Is it a space themed?
I can't
Adventure
remember.
themed? Is it cooking? What is it?
It's cooking themed. No, that's not it.
Dynamo. Brian says the guy's name was Dynamo.
Oh, is it Dynamo? My bad. Not Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze was Arnie in
In Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. All right. My apologies. Dynamo. Yes, Dynamo. I was thinking. Or possibly Mr. Freeze as well. Yes. I'd have to go back and look at them. Now I'm totally confused. And probably wrong. But yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to show you as well. Just going to dive back down to the rest of the pile of paper down here. One of the cool things that I'm really enjoying about Necromunda is the other things GW is doing. So since the last release of Necromunda in '95, they've released a Gene Stealer cult army.
Okay.
So it's basically the Gene Stealers are the scouts, really, of the Tyrannid force, who are the big sort of gribbly aliens.
Okay.
And let me find here. So anyway, they created an army for them, Gene Stealer cults. But the type of environment that Necromunda is fought in is exactly where you would find Gene Stealer cults.
Okay.
So, in the March issue of White Dwarf,
Gene Stealer cult.
Gene Stealer cult gangs.
Nice.
So, cool set of rules there for it. There we go. Gene Stealer cult gangs. You got you're set up for all of your rules. So the special rules. Primary abilities for the adepts are cunning and ferocity.
Nice.
But so rather than having leaders, champions, gangers, and Jews, they have adepts, acolytes, and specialists, and aberrants.
And super scaries.
Aberrants, the things that you don't want to find. Actually, no, you'd never want to put a Gene Stealer by themselves in a game of Necromunda.
Right.
They would tear apart
The gangs.
any gang they went up against. So, Gene Stealer gangs, Gene Stealer cult gangs, in there. In the April issue, there was Chaos cult gangs.
Okay.
Hooray!
Chaos cult.
Chaos cult
I like.
gangs.
And this is the terrain that you were talking about, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What's it called again?
So the Sector Mechanicus terrain.
Okay.
You know when we were talking about, as well, I was talking about the guy that I converted
Yeah.
my Warlock leader out of.
Yeah.
So if we can zoom in on that one, Leona. There he is, zooming in now. Oh, hey. So that's the model that I converted it from.
Where you gave the long trench coat.
Yep. Didn't put the head on, took the arms off,
Nice.
switched out everything else. So yep. So that's Chaos Cult gangs. And then in this month's White Dwarf, they have Venator bands. I'm pretty sure these aren't musical groups.
They could be.
They might be Venator bands. But I mentioned before in Gang War 2 there are bounty hunters.
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of sort of pre-made bounty hunters, and there's also the ability to make your own bounty hunters. The Venator bands is a approach basically having a gang of bounty hunters.
Oh.
So you can do a lot of creating your own stuff, or you might just band together all of the pre-made ones if you wanted to.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really sort of very cool approach. You don't need to play with any of those,
But
but if you want to, if you want to add to it and keep expanding your gaming, GW is certainly offering a lot of that.
nice. Thanks, GW.
Yeah. For sure. So, yeah. So obviously at the moment I'm very excited about Necromunda.
Yes, I can tell. Well, it's easy to be excited about a game that you're actively playing too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Definitely. So, yeah, I'm involved in a campaign. We'll be playing our second game on Thursday night,
Nice.
which will be great. In the first game, where is he? This guy.
Did you wreck house?
This guy died.
No.
I did have the opportunity to take him to the dock,
Yeah.
but sadly the dock wanted to charge me too many credits.
Wow.
So I had to let him die on the slab. Yeah. And when I say too many credits, it was more than I had.
Okay. That makes sense.
If I had the credits, I would have kept him alive. But I didn't have the credits. But, what are you laughing at?
Oh, I don't know. That's just funny.
What are you laughing at?
I would have kept my guy alive had there been enough
There
credits.
would have been enough money. I didn't have it. It was a shame. So he was the nephew of my gang leader.
Oh yeah, that's sad. Now wants revenge.
Yep.
He's like,
Gonna have to find another.
what's
another
kind of funny
family
is
member.
I watched the most recent episode of Into the Badlands last night,
Oh, okay. Yep.
and they had like this like alleyway of death
Okay.
that they were trying to get through.
Yeah.
You know, to get into this certain part of the Badlands.
Oh, okay.
And there was it kind of looks like what kind of environment you would be playing this in.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. It was a great episode. Not on Netflix, by the way.
It's AMC, isn't it?
Yeah. But speaking of Netflix, did you happen to tune in or hear about our character build for building character last Friday?
I didn't. I
So
missed it. Sorry.
His name is Netflix. Yeah, N-E-T-T is his first name, and
Right.
F-L-I-X-X is his
Right.
last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And for the Star Wars.
Oh, it is a perfect Star Wars name.
Oh, yeah. And he's the second. His father is Netflix as well, with one T.
Okay, one T and one X.
And then, just the
the
T.
X, okay.
Yeah. Flix is the house name. All right.
Excellent. What sort of character was he?
He is a Jedi, I think he was a Pathfinder or something like that.
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
So all of the characters that we're putting together for this upcoming build set are all going to be like Force
Sensitive?
sensitive, yeah. Except for the Wookiee. The Wookiee is just going to be muscle.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've got some of those miniatures. And for the next build, I won't be doing a building character this week. We'll be doing it next week when I'm back. And I've actually painted the miniature for next time already. So
Yeah. Oh,
I got a miniature done.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great.
You must be excited about it.
But we're at our hour. We've reached our time.
No way.
Yeah, it went by very fast today.
That's crazy.
So for everybody that joined us today and was participating in the chat or shared us, and if you're at your local game store and they're broadcasting us, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Thanks for letting us be a part of your community, as we love having you a part of ours. This has been Painting Happy Little Minis, a building set.
I was going to say building angry little minis.
Building angry little gangers.
Angry little gangers. Yep. So Thursday you're going to be down at You're heading down to Atlanta.
Yeah, Thursday I head to Atlanta for the CMON Expo.
Okay.
I'm going to try to do some live streaming off my phone while I'm there, and I'm going to be taking lots of pictures and stuff of the event to show off to everybody what that particular convention's like.
Excellent. And we're going to have Drew Carrington from One Inch Heroes is going to join us
Very cool.
in the studio.
It'll be
and we're
nice
gonna,
to see Drew in here.
and we're going to do some painting. So
Sweet.
we might get him to paint some of these.
Oh, that's why he
lines.
was asking.
Oh yeah, it was a shameless plug.
Perfect.
That's what Drew does.
Right.
No shame.
No shame.
All the plug.
There's no reason to be shameful.
Yep.
And then Friday, we will not have a building character this week. We will still have Board Games and Beyond. And Leona and Carrie will be hosting that. So at 4 p.m. on Friday, make sure you tune in to find out what's news and new in the board gaming industry this week.
Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So this has been Painting Happy Little Minis. I'm Rick.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you at the game store.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Game Trade Media. Before you go, we wanted to tell you about our new book, The Overstreet Guide to Collecting Tabletop Games, which is available to pre-order right now.
You obviously love tabletop gaming, so do we. And this book provides a look at the history of all the different types of tabletop games, from card games like Magic the Gathering to role-playing adventures like Dungeons & Dragons, to the most classic of board games like Clue or The Game of Life.
Right. We've also got interviews with a lot of industry veterans like Peter Adkison and influencers like Matt Mercer, plus discussions with collectors and gamers of all kinds. The book also discusses the impact of crowdfunding on the industry and looks into why board gaming is experiencing such a boom right now.
We put a lot of love, a ton as a matter of fact, into this book, and we like to think that it provides a perfect snapshot of what makes tabletop gaming and the tabletop community so great. You can pre-order your copy right now by using diamond code APR181585. So head into your local comic or game shop today and tell them you want the Overstreet Guide to Collecting Tabletop Games.
Thanks for watching Painting Happy Little Minis. If you liked it, leave a like and a comment below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new content.